Okay, Year 5 Homework 1, you can access the PDF and basically upload your answers on our app. So if you come over to app.lifetrainingtuition.com, log in and go to the homework tab, you will find it over here. So I'm going to go into it right now and we're going to do a quick walkthrough of all of the questions. If you need your login details, they should be on your parents' email address, and if not, you can just email us. So you can see the front cover is on the left side. This is the PDF, and here you can enter your answers in. And I'm going to go through each question one by one. Hopefully if you're stuck on any of them, you can understand them from this video. First of all, make sure that you get this month's reading book suggestion. So what we have is a series of books that you are suggested to read throughout the year before the 11 plus exam. So this one is called, this is The Wizard of Oz, basically, The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, chapters 1 to 10, and we have questions after each chapter, basically. So if you look this up on Amazon, basically type this in, this title in here, and you should be able to find it. You can also put my name in there, and that should come up. And yeah, ask your parent to buy that, and you can read it and make sure that you complete that book before we get to homework 3, because by then we want you to move on to the next book. Okay, next, okay, let's go on to the first section. So fractions homework. So if you don't understand fractions completely, you will have been taught this in class. We also have a video on this as well. So if you go to I'll quickly show you. If we go to the Learn tab, and if you click on Maths, you've got fractions right here. Okay, if you click on the first one here, hopefully this works. Okay, this one isn't showing it, but what you can do, I'll show you on our website as well. By the time this video comes out, this one will work. Basically, if you click on this one, it will show you a video, but you can also go to our website over here, click on videos, and you can see here we've got videos on every single topic. So if you go on fractions, there's literally tutorials on how to do all of these fractions. So if you watch 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you'll pretty much be a master in fractions, as long as you understand everything in there. And there's also some walkthroughs of questions there. So if you're struggling with fractions, watch those videos. I'm going to go through them now and show you how I would do them if I was answering them. So first one is here, is what is the fraction of the shaded area. So how we do this is we calculate how many portions there are in this shape. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and how many of them is shaded, right? So it's asking what is the fraction that is shaded. Well, 1 of this is shaded out of 8 of them. That means it will be 1 out of 8, or 1 over 8. So what a fraction is basically a part of a whole, and you can see only one part of the whole, which is 8 parts, is actually shaded. So this one should be 2 out of 4, because if you look at this, there's 2 shaded out of the 4. This one is going to be 3 out of 5, because there are 3 shaded out of 5 total parts. This one has 5 total parts and 3 shaded, so that'll be 3 out of 5. And this one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 shaded out of 8 total parts, so it'll be 6 over 8. Okay, now with a lot of these you can simplify the fractions. So I'm not sure if you've been taught this just yet, but this answer will be correct. Sometimes the question will ask you to simplify the fraction. I'm just going to quickly explain that right now. Basically, if you see here 2 out of 4, if you actually look at this, you will know what a half is. So if you think of a chocolate bar, you can half the chocolate bar. This is sort of what it will look like. So if you know that intuitively that this is half of the whole diamond, right? Now you can see my fraction here doesn't say half, it says 2 over 4. This is actually what half is, right? How you simplify a fraction, how you get from this to this, they're actually the same fraction. All you have to do is you have to divide the top by a number, and also divide the bottom by a number. So what we're doing here is we're dividing the top number by 2 and the bottom number by 2. That's how we get 1 over 2. Because we're doing the same thing to the top and the bottom, basically these fractions are both equal to each other. So you can see we can do the same thing here, right? 6 over 8, both of these are divisible by 2. So we can actually divide them, and it gives us 3/4. If you think of it, this actual shape, it makes sense, right? It looks like it's 3/4 of it is shaded, whereas 1/4 isn't, right? that's just another way of saying this, right? But for now, if you don't understand that, you can just continue to count them up and see where that gets you. Okay, so we got 1 over 8 for the first one, so we can put that in. 2 over 4 for this one. Okay, so 2 over 4 isn't an option here, right? That is why we had to simplify it to 1 over 2. And you can see 1 over 2 here is an option. So the answer to question 2 here is 1 over 2. Question 3 was 3 over 5. We've got that selected right here. The answer to question 4 is also 3 over 5. We've got that selected. And the answer to question 5 is 6 over 8. And we've got that selected. Perfect. Okay, question 6. Well, we've got 2 shaded here out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's 2 over 8. Let's look at what options we've been given here. 2 over 8 is right there. This is 1 over 4 because there's 1 shaded out of the 4. So 1 over 4. This one is 3 over 4. There we go, 3 over 4 is there. Question 9, there is 4 shaded out of the 5. And question 10, there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 shaded out of the 5 again. 4 out of 5. And the reason why we can't simplify these is basically because there is no number that we can divide both of these by, right? They're not divisible by anything, the same ones. But they also show up in the multiple choices, so it's not a big a deal. Okay, question 11 is down here. 3 over 4, we have to do equivalent fractions now. Again, if you've been taught this in class, if you don't understand it, it's a good idea to watch the video here. You can see here, fractions 1, equivalent fractions. That will teach you how to do it. I'm also going to obviously go through it here as well. Okay, so how we do equivalent fractions is we look at the change, right? So you can see there's a gap here, obviously. We have to figure out how we're going to get to this gap. How we do that is we look at what happened from here to here. So 4 to 24, what actually happened is timesed by 6. So we can't look at adding, we can't look at subtracting, but we can look at whether the bottom has been multiplied by something or divided by something. So 4 times 6 is 24, and what we do here is we multiply by the same thing. 3 times 6, that gives us 18. Okay, just a bit of background on why we're doing that. Again, these two fractions are the same. So if you think of 3/4, it's equal to 18 over 24, right? And to explain that, you can look at this diagram right here. So this is 18 out of 24, right? So 18 of these blue ones are shaded in out of 24. If you look at it, it's actually very, very similar. Or actually, it's exactly the same as if you just shaded in 3/4 of a circle, right? So what we're actually doing is we're saying it's the same fraction. All we're doing is we're splitting the circle into more bits, but we're still shading the same amount, right? So hopefully that makes sense. If you split a circle into 4 sections and you only shade in 3 parts, right, you can see it's the exact same shape. All we're doing with 18 out of 24 is we're splitting up into many, many more sections, but we're still shading the same amount. Hopefully that makes sense. Let's move back to our homework. That's how we do it, right? So the reason why we're timesing or dividing is because basically what's happening is we're timesing the amount of splits that we're doing. So we had 4 splits here, and timesing it to 24, and that's why you can times the top one, and then you'll get the same answer. If you're adding, it wouldn't work, right? Because adding something to 24, like it's not the same. Let's move on anyway. Question 12. So 1, how did it get to 4? Again, it was timesed by 4. So this one's going to have to times by 4. So that means this bottom one is going to have to be 8. So again, question 11, I think it was 18 over 24. So we can select that one as the answer. Question 12 is 4 over 8. Question 13, so this is times 6. So this one's going to be 6. So it'll be 6 over 24. Okay, let's go back upwards to question 16 now. 6 over 12. Oh, sorry, question 6. I missed out question 14. Oh, it's right here. Question 14 is right here. So 4 over 6. So if 6 goes into 30, it's times 5. So this one is going to be times 5 as well. So that gives us 20. So 20 over 30, that is this option. 15. How did 2 get to 6? Well, it was times by 3. Again, remember, it's only times or divide that we can do with these fractions, with equivalent fractions. So this is times 3. This is going to give us 18. So 6 over 18 is the answer to question 15. Alright, question 16. Lowest term reducing fraction. Okay, so what this means is we have to reduce the fraction or simplify the fraction, like I explained in this section over here. So to simplify a fraction, you have to figure out what number goes into both of these, the top and the bottom. Again, there is a video over here, I believe, which one is it? Mix improper, comparing fractions. It might be one of these, it might be 1 or 2. Watch through all of these because you need to understand this if you don't understand this. Simplifying fractions, again, just look for a number that goes into both of them and then divide them both by that number. So 6 actually goes into both of these. 6 divided by 6 is 1, so that goes to the top. 6 divided by 12 is 2, so half is the answer to this one. There we go. Now what number goes into 8 and 12? Well, 4 goes into it, so 4 goes into 8 2 times. 4 goes into 12 3 times, so 2 over 3 is the answer here. Question 18. 20 over 100, what number goes into both of these? 20 goes into 20 once, and 20 goes into 100 5 times, so 1 over 5. Alright, question 19. 40 over 50. 10 goes into both of these, so 10 times 4 is 40, and 10 times 5 is 50, right? So 4 over 5 is the answer here. 21. Okay, 7 goes into both of these. 7 times 3 gets us 21, and 7 times 5 gets us 35. So 3 over 5 is the answer here. Question 21. 10 goes into the top one once, and 10 goes into the bottom one twice, so half is the answer here. Question 22. 20 over 50. So 20, 10 goes into both of these again. 10 goes into 20 twice, and 10 goes into 50 5 times, so 2 over 5 is the answer here. 2 goes into the top one here once, so 1, and then 2 goes into the bottom one 3 times, so 1 over 3. 24, so 5 goes into this one once, and then 5 goes into 20 4 times, so 1 over 4. Okay, 9 over 12, what we have here, 3 goes into 9 3 times, and 3 goes into 12 4 times, so here is 3 over 4. Converting improper to mixed fractions. Okay, what we have to do here, an improper fraction, we can go back to here, does it show it here? Here it is, fractions 2, this video explains improper and mixed fractions. An improper fraction is one where the top number is bigger than the bottom number. Why is it improper? Well, because if you imagine 10 over 4, so this circle is split up into 4 pieces, right? It's saying 10 is shaded. That basically means all of this is shaded, but there's also another section, another circle where all of it is shaded. There's also another one where only 1 is shaded, right? So actually, this is 2 whole circles and 1 quarter. So if you think about chocolate bars as well, it will be 2 whole chocolate bars and 1 quarter of a chocolate bar. So how do we actually figure out how to do this? Well, I just explained that, right? It will be 2 and 1 quarter if you imagined it like that. But let's look at how we can do it with just numbers and logically, right? What we can do is we can do the bottom. How many times is the bottom number going to the top number? 4 goes into 10 twice, right? So that's going to be our number here, 2. And when you get 4 times 2, you get 8, right? What is left over between 8 and 10? It's 2. So that's going to go here. And then the bottom number will always stay the same. Okay, so question 26. What's the answer there? 2 over 4. Okay, question 27. How many times does 2 go into 11? 5 times, so that's going to be our big number here. What is left over from that is 1, and obviously we keep the denominator the same, so 5.5 is what this is actually equal to. So where is that? 5.5 right there. Question 28. 22 over 4. So how many times does 4 go into 20? 5 times. So 5 is going to be our big number here. what's left over from that? Well, 4 times 5 is 20, so 2 is left over. And then we leave the denominator the same, so 4, 5, 2 over 4, there we go. 29, 5 times, how many times? 5 goes into 12 2 times, so that's going to be 2 here. And we have 2 left over again, and then we have 5 over here. So 2 over 5. Okay, question 30. 10. How many times does 10 go into 64? Well, 6 times, so we've got the big 6 here. 4 is left over, and 10 is the denominator. So 6, 4 over 10. It looks like that isn't any option here. What that basically means is probably this section here has been simplified. So how can we simplify 4 over 10? Well, think about what goes into 4 and 10. 2 goes into both of them, right? So we can divide the top by 2, that will give us 2, and we can divide the bottom by 2 as well, that will give us 5. So instead, what we'll have, if I erase this one, is actually 6, 2 over 5 as our answer here. And that is question 30, there's our option there. Question 31, how many times does 2 go into 11? 5 times, there's 1 left over, and there's 2 left here. It looks like it's the same question as 27, but it's just testing you anyway. So 5.5. 29 over 4. 4 goes into 29 6 times. So that will give us 24. That means 5 is left over. So first of all, 6 is a big number. 5 is left over, and then 4 is underneath. It looks like I might have made a mistake there, because none of these are 6. 4 times 7. 4 times 7 is 28, so actually it's not, yeah, I was wrong there. So this one right here, 4 times 7, that leaves us with only 1 left over. So 4 times 7 is 28, that means 1 is left over to 21, and that means 1 over 4 is what the answer is. So 7, 1 over 4, 17 over 3 here will be 3 goes into 7, 12. It would be 5, yeah, 5 times. That would leave us 2, because 3 times 5 is 15, and then 3 over here, so 5, 2 over 3. Okay, that's question 33 done. Question 34, 6, 3 over 4. Okay, so this is converting them mixed fractions to improper fractions. So it's basically doing this, but on the reverse. And what we can do, an easy way to remember this, is you imagine an invisible times here and an invisible plus here. What that means is 4 times 6 plus 3. So 4 times 6 is 24, plus the 3 is 27, and that's what's going to go at the top. And of course, as always, the denominator will stay the same. So 27 over 4 is the answer here. Question 35, 9, 2 over 5. So 5 times 9 is 40, add the 2 is 42, and we keep the denominator the same, 42 over 5. Sorry, it looks like I made a mistake. That 5 times 9 is 45, add the 2, that would be 47. There we go, 47 over 5. Okay, question 36. 2 times 7 is 14, add the 1 is 15, over 2, 15 over 2 is the answer. Of course, remember, keep the denominator the same. 5 times 9, and then add the 2. So 5 times, and add the 2. 5 times 9 is 45 again, add the 2 is 47 over 5 here. Question 38. 3 times 9, add the 2. So 3 times 9 is 27, add the 2 is 29, and over 3 again. So 29 over 3. Looks like that isn't an option here. 29 over 3. Yeah, that must be a mistake there. My bad, I didn't enter in question 37 here. So question 37. It looks like all my markings have gone, but question 37 was 47 over 5. 47 over 5. Okay, question 37 needs to be fixed. Question 38 though is 29 over 3, as we just went through. So that is the answer right here. There we go. So question 37 is 47 over 5. This one is 29 over 3. We're on question 39 now. 2 times 8 plus 1 is 17 and over 2. 17 over 2 is this one. Question 40. 3 times 9 plus 2 is 27 plus 2, which is 29 over 3. Boom. And question 41. 10 times 6 is 60. Add the 3 is 63 over 10, which is right here. Perfect. Now we are on to question 42. So these ones are now we're actually doing things to the fractions. So question 42. How do we add simple fractions? Again, there is a video over here on this link right here. I'll leave it in the description as well on how to add and subtract if you don't understand how to do that. Quick lesson on it. Basically, if the numbers on the bottom are the same, you can just add the top two and then leave the bottom the same. So again, we'll leave the bottom the same and you add the top two together, which will give us 4. So 4 over 8 is the answer here. So question 42. The denominators are the same, so you can keep them the same. 8 stays at the bottom. 2 plus 2 is 4. And now you've got 4 over 8. And to simplify it, we can just divide the top and the bottom both by 4. That'll give us 1/2. So the answer here is 1/2. 3. Same thing here. You can add the top and you can leave the bottom the same. So that's the answer right here. Question 44. Add these two. 9 over 12. Question 45. 3 over 6. Again, adding the top two and leaving the bottom the same. Question 45, so that was 3 over 6. Question 46 will be, so now the bottom two are different. So what you have to do when the bottom two are different is you have to make them the same by either timesing them or dividing them. With these ones we can times them. What we can do, how can we find a number that we can times both of these, make them into? Or what number do these both of these bottom number goes into? 15, right? 3 and 5 both go into 15. So we can make both of these fractions, if you understand the rules of simplifying, we can make them into having 15 at the bottom. So again, like you should know, just because the denominator is different doesn't mean it's not the same fraction. So how do we make it have 15 at the bottom? Well, we did this, 3 to 15, we had to times by 5. So we do the same to the top, so if we times 1 by 5, it will give us 5 over 15. That is the first fraction, right? Second fraction is the same thing. To get to 15, we just had to times by 3 here. And to get the top one, we'll times 4 by 3, which is 12. So this is our new fraction here, which is basically 5 over 12 added to, 5 over 15 added to 12 over 15. And now that is easy because the denominator is the same and we can just add the top two, which will give us 17 over 15. And as you know, that is an improper fraction. Looks like none of these options here will allow us to do that, so what we have to do is convert this to a mixed. We did that a second ago. How you convert to a mixed is look at how many times does the bottom one go into the top one. Well, it's once. What is left over from that? Well, it's 2. And then the bottom is always 15. So 2 over 15 is the answer here. That's for question 46. Okay, question 47. Same thing here. We're going to change the bottom two to have the same. I'm going to choose the number 10. And basically we times the 1 by 5 because that's what we did to the bottom. And we times the bottom by 2 because we did this, right? Times 2. So this is going to be times 2 as well. So that's going to give us 6. So we just have to do 5 over 10 plus 6 over 10, which is basically 11 over 10. And is that an option here? It looks like it is not. So we have to make it into a mixed one. 11 over 10 is basically just 1 over 10. As I explained above, 10 goes into 11 once, and then you have 1 over 10 left over. So this one over here is 4 over 8. And what we've got here is we haven't got that in the options, but what we can do is we can simplify that. So if we divide both of these by 2, that should give us 1 over 2. meaning this is equal to a half, and that is the answer to 42. Question 48. So the bottom are different again, we have to make them the same. Let's make the 2 into a 10. How we can do that is if we times this by 5, that will give us 10 at the bottom. Obviously we have to times the top by 5 as well. That will give us 5. So this is our new fraction, right? 5 over 10 is the new fraction. And you can see we can add these again now. 5 over 10 plus 5 over 10 is just going to be 10 over 10. Denominator always stays the same. You can see that isn't an option here. What we can do is we can simplify the fraction. If we divide both of these by 10, we'll actually get 1 over 1, which is basically meaning 1 whole, right? So if you imagine a circle that's split up into 10 pieces, right? What you're doing, you're shading the 10 pieces. You're shading 10 out of the 10 pieces. So then it's asking you how much of it is shaded. You could say 1 whole is shaded. The whole thing is shaded, like 1, basically, right? So that's why this is 1. So anything over itself means it's just 1, and that's the same for 1 over 1, right? Another good one to remember is that if you have 7 over 1 or something like that, anything over 1 is just 7, right? So if you have 7 over 1, that just means you've got 7 holes, right? So 7 whole circles shaded in, something like that. Anyway, question 49 now. 5 over 10 minus 1 over 10. We can just subtract the top 2 without having to change the denominator, so that's 4 over 10. Question 50. 2 minus 1, which is 1 over 3. Question 51. 5 minus 2, which is 3 over 9. Question 52. 3 minus 1 is 2 over 10. Question 53. 2 minus 1. Alright, so we have to add these together. That'll give us 15 to the bottom, 15 here. What we're doing is times by 3, times by 5. This is 6, and this is 5. Now we can minus these two and get 1 over 15. For question, that was 53. So this one was, this one was 2 out of 2. Question 51, so this one was 3 over 9, this one was 2 over 10, and then question 53 is 1 over 15. There we go. Question 54. Bottom two, we can change them both to have 20, because they're both divisible by 20. So this one, we have to times by 4, so we're going to times the top by 4 to get 16. And then this one was times by 5, we're going to times the top by 5 to get 15 here as well. So that should give us 1 over 20 if you actually carry out that subtraction. And let's have a look at the options here. 1 over 20 right there. Question 55. We can change these both to have 10 at the bottom, 5 at the top here, and that's going to be 2. So that's going to be 2 times 2, so it's going to be 4 over at the top. We can minus these two. That will give us 1 over 10. Okay, multiplying fractions now. Let's select that answer. 1 over 2 times 8 over 10. With these ones, you don't have to do anything. You can just times directly left to right. So 1 times 8 is 8, and 2 times 10 is 20. Now that's not in the options here, but we can simplify it. We can divide both of the top and the bottom by 2. That'll give us 4 over 10. 9 over 10 times 2 over 5. 9 times 2 is 18. 10 times 5 is 50. Let's see if that's an option. Looks like it isn't. You should immediately be able to spot that 9 over 25 is just the same as this, but the top is divided by 2 and the bottom is divided by 2, meaning it's simplified. Question 58. 4 for the top, and 4 times 3 is 12 over here. And now we can simplify that again. So if 4 goes into 4 once, and 4 goes into 12 3 times, so 1 over 3. Okay, 1 over 3 isn't here. What looks like is here is actually 2 over 6, which is again the same thing. So if you think about they just haven't they've simplified it with a different number, and they haven't gone all the way, they haven't reduced it to the bottom. So if you think about 1 over 3, if you times the top by 2 and you times the bottom by 2, you'll get 2 over 6. So that means 2 over 6 and 1 over 3 are actually the same fraction, so you can choose that number, that option. Okay, this is 1 times 7, that'll give us 7. This one is 4 times 10, that'll give us 40, so it's 7 over 40 here. Question 60, dividing fractions now. So this one is 5 divided by, so we're dividing, all you have to do is you have to change the, so it's called KFC, right? So you keep, flip, change. So you keep the left side, flip the divide to, flip this bottom and top, meaning you change it to 5 over 4, right? And you change the divide symbol to a times. So now what this is just 5 over 10 times 5 over 4, right? And what you can do is 5 times 5 is 25, and 10 times 4 is 40. So if I can rub out what I've got here, we'll do the same one for the next, but let's put in the answer here. 25 over 40 is what we got as the answer here. Let's simplify that. 5 goes into the top one 5 times, and 5 goes into the bottom number, the denominator, 8 times. So 5 over 8 is the answer here. Again here, you keep the left side, you change the right side, so the top one, so you flip the right side, so it's 3 over 2 instead of 2 over 3, and you times it, right? So that's going to be 1 times 2, so 1 times 3, which is 3, 5 times 2, which is 10, and that's our answer, 3 over 10. Okay, keep the left, flip the right, so again, it's going to be 10 over 6 that we're using, and then you change the divide to a times, so now it's 10 times 3, which is 30, 4 times 6, which is 24, and we're going to have to simplify that. We can use the number 3, so 3 goes into it 10 times, and 3 goes to the bottom one 8 times, 10 over 8. 62, 10 over 8, it's not there, let's simplify it more. 2 goes into 10 5 times, and the bottom one 4 times, so 5 over 4. That's the answer here. Question 63. Keep the left, flip the right to 5 over 2, and change this to times. So 1 times 5 is 5, 2 times 2 is 4. 5 over 4 is the answer here. Question 64. Comparing fractions, so which one is bigger or smaller? So this is bigger sign. This means, if you think about, this is a crocodile, it always eats the bigger number. So what this sign means is the number on the right is bigger, and this one means the number on the left is bigger, so you have to choose which one is true. Well, for this one you can imagine splitting a circle into 3 sections, and you're shading in only one of them, right? And then you can imagine splitting it into 6 sections. That's 6 sections, and you're only shading in 1. And you can ask yourself, which shaded area is actually bigger? It's very clearly the 3 one. So if you think about this, right, I can split this into 6 sections as well. And you can see this would actually be 2/6. So this is 1, this is 2, and whereas this one is only 1, right? So that's how you can imagine it, or you could just look at it in terms of numbers and make the bottom, the denominators, the same. That's the easiest way to think about it. So like we said, to make the denominator the same, all you have to do, change the 3 to a 6, and you can do that by timesing by 2, and obviously you have to do the same to the top number as well, so you times the top number by 2 as well. That gives you 2 over 6, and now you can ask yourself, which one's bigger, 1 over 6 or 2 over 6? Well, 2 over 6 is bigger because it has a high number on the numerator, so obviously this is going to be the right option because the bigger number is on the right side. Okay, 5 over 7 and 6 over 10. We can make these numbers to the same. Let's make both of them have 70 at the bottom, and we're going to have to times 6 by 7, which gives us 56. sorry, not 56, it gives us 42, sorry. And then if we times 5 by 10, that gives us 50. So which one is bigger out of these two? Well, 50 is bigger than 42, so it's going to be like that. So let's click on that option. 1/3 or half, this should be simple. You should again be able to imagine it, but if you think about the half, it's bigger this way than it being split up into 3, right? But you can do the same thing. If you change the bottom to have 6, the top here will have 3, and this one will only have 2. Right, so this is what the equivalent fraction is for these ones, and 3 is bigger than 2. So the right side is bigger again here. Question 67. Find 2/3 of 36. Okay, this of sign basically means times. Okay, so all you have to do is 2/3 times 36. Now how can you do that? Well, like I explained earlier, any number, I think I said any number with, so let's say I said 7/1 basically means 7. So that would mean 36/1 means 36. So you can actually just change this to have over 1. Any whole number basically means it's over 1. So now you can times it. You can times the top by the top and the bottom by bottom. So 2 times 36 is 72. And 3 times 1 is 3. So 72/3 is the answer here. Now you can see none of the options here have 72/3. So what we can actually do is simplify that. So 3 goes into 3 times. 1 time, sorry. And 3 goes into 72. I believe it is 36 times. No, not 36. It will be around 20. I think it will be 24. 24. So if you think about 48, 52, yeah, 24. So you can see this is our answer here, 24/1. And again, anything over 1 just means 24, right? Just means the top number. And that's why the answer here is 24. Okay, 3/5 times 150. Of course, of means times. So we make this into 1. So 5 times 1 is 5. And 3 times 150 is, what you can do is you can think of what's 3 times 15, right? So if you think about 3 lots of 15, it's 45. And then you just add the 0. So 3 times 150 is actually just 450. Okay. 450/5, how do we simplify that? Well, how many times does 5 go into 450? It will be 90 times. Again, you think about how many times 5 goes into 45 and then just add a 0 to it. So 90/1, and the answer there will be 90. Question 69. Find 3/4 of 48. So change it to a times again, add the over 1 here. 3 times 48 is going to be 144. 144 over 4. So what I did there is I imagined 3 times 40, which is 120, and also 3 times 8, which is 24, and then I added those together, and that gives us 144. Or you could just do long multiplication there if you want. That's how you can do it mentally though. So 144/4, basically again it means 144 divided by 4, or you can simplify them just by dividing them by 4. And what we'll get is something over 1. So how many times does 4 go into 144? Well, you can do long division here. How many times does 4 go into 14? 3 times, and that gives us 12 here. And then we can do that, 2. We can bring the 4 down, and then how many times does 4 go into 24? 6 times. So the answer here is 36. Question 32. 32 times is 4/5. So 32/1 is 4/5, sorry. We have to do 32/1 times, oh right, okay, hold on. Let's read the question again. It says 32 is 4/5 of what number? Okay, so basically what it's saying is, if you imagine 4/5 of some number, so what it's say 4/5 of this imaginary number right here is equal to 32. So earlier up here what we were doing is something, a fraction of a number is equal to something, right? What they've now done is they've given us the answer, but they're not telling us what the actual number is. So how can we reverse engineer it and do it like backwards? Well, we know 32 is equal to 4/5. What we need to find out is what is the whole number. Well, the whole number is going to be 5/5. It's going to be the whole thing, right? So if you think of, again, you've got this pie chart, you've split up into 5 sections, and 4 of them is shaded. The 5th one isn't. When you shade 4 of them, it adds up to 32. You have to figure out what the 5th one actually is. What you can do here is you can figure out what is 1/5 first, right? So what is 1/5? Rather than 32 is 4/5, what is 1/5? So we're going to change this to 1/5. How do you get from 4/5 to 1/5? You just divide by 4. If you look at the top number, you see what's happening, right? So we're going to divide this one by 4, and that gives us 8. So 1/5 of this imaginary number that we don't actually know yet, right? It's not actually an imaginary number, but it's a number that we don't know, is 8. Now we need to find the whole, right? So we know 1/5 is equal to 8. How are we going to get to the whole? Well, we just times it by 5 to get 5/5. So what's 5 times 8? It's 40. So the answer here is 40. Hopefully that makes sense. You can rewind and try and understand that explanation again. And I'm going to go through the next question now. If you didn't understand that, hopefully you'll be able to apply it to this one. So it's again 45 is 3/5 of what number? Okay, so 45 is 3/5, right? So it's basically saying 3/5 of some number is equal to 45. This number again is actually the whole. It's the whole number, so it's going to be a 5/5 number, right? What we're basically trying to do is we're trying to figure out what is 5/5 of this fraction, right? So my preferred method is, first of all, so if 3/5 is 45, I want to figure out what is 1/5, which is basically just divided by 3, so compared to this, so that's going to give us, I believe, 15. And then I can figure out what is 5/5 from that 1/5, right? And that's just times by 5, if you look from here to here. And 15 times 5 is just 75. The answer here is 75. Again, you can rewind this section a few times if you're still confused, or you could look at the website where we've got an explanation video on exactly how to do these types of questions. So if you click on the videos here, lifechangingtuition.com/videos, fractions, you can see here fraction of quantity and fraction of missing quantity. This is the video you can watch. It will teach you how to do it. It might show you a different technique, and you can use whichever one you find easier to use, right? Okay, question 72. 32 is 2/10 of what number? So we have to find out what the 10 out of 10 number is, right? Because we know 32 is 2/10. What I'm going to do is I'm going to find out what 1/10 is first. And how do we get from 2/10 to 1/10? We just divide by 2. Again, you're looking at what's happening to the top number, right? It's getting divided by 2. Well, how are we going to get from 32 to that? We're dividing that by 2 as well. And that will give us 16. So 1/10, the base number, the base fraction is 16. Now we can just times that by 10, because if you look at the difference between 1/10 and 10/10, we just times that by 10, and that'll give us what the whole number is, 160. So the answer here is 160, and you can actually double check this, right? So what this is basically doing, like I showed you earlier, is 30, it was saying it's 2/10 of this whole number, which is 160, which we now know, is actually 32. So you can double check this, right? So you can see, you can actually try it again, you can retry it. Does this make sense, right? So if 2/10 times 160 over 1, it will actually give you 320 over 10, right? So we're doing like what we did earlier, right? We're just up here, what we're doing up here, we're just doing that to check if the answer is right. That'll give us 320 over 10, and then obviously if you simplify that, that'll give you 32 as well. So yeah, that is fraction of missing quantity. That is the answer to 72. Question 73. There are 24 hours in the day. Beyonce sleeps 3 out of 8 of those of the day. Sorry. So how much this time does she spend sleeping? Well, it's 3 over 8 of 24. Of always just means times, and if we change this to have 1 over it, so 3 times 24 is going to give us 60 plus 12, which is 72. And if we put that over 8, this is our final answer. Obviously that's not one of the options here. What we have to do is we have to divide the top by 8 and divide the bottom by 8, and what we'll get is 9 over 1 to simplify it, and that basically the answer here is 9. So Beyonce sleeps 9 hours of the day. Batman is 160 centimeters tall. Robin is 7 over 8 as tall of him. How tall is Robin? Okay, so 7 over 8 of 160 centimeters. So again, times it over 1, and let's figure out what 7 times 160 is. Well, if you think of what is 7 times 16, it'll actually just be 7 times 10, which is 70, added to 7 times 6, which is 47. So we got 70 plus 47, which is 137. And then obviously we have to add the 0 as well. So we get 7, 0. That is 7 times 160. You can obviously use long multiplication as well. But what I just did there was I did 7 times 10, 7 times 6, and I added those together, and then I added again a 0 to it because it's 160 rather than 7 times 16. Or you could just use 7 times 16 and add a 0 as well. Same idea. Alright. And it's over 8 again. Now we have to simplify this. We have to divide the bottom by 8 and divide the top by 8. So let's look at what is 8 divided by 1170. So 8 into 11 is 1. If we put 8 down here, and we can carry on here, that gives us 3 left over. And then we bring down the 7, so 37, and now we ask how many times does 8 go into 37? It goes into it 4 times, that gives us 32, and now we've got 5 left over here. Now we bring down the 0, that gives us 50, and 8, how many times does 8 go into 50? Well, it goes into 50, 5, oh, it looks like I made a mistake earlier, my fault. What I did was I made a mistake in the multiplication here. It should be 7 times 160. I believe it should be 42 added to 70, which is 112. So it should be 1120. So the answer is going to be 1120 divided by 8. Okay, if we go back and keep doing that, 1 here, that would give us 32. 8 goes into 32 4 times, and it gives us 4, and then 0 here, and 5, right? So 145 is the answer here after you do the long multiplication. And I'll just double check why the why the option isn't there. 1 by 1120. Oh, sorry. So I made a mistake there. So 4 is the remainder here. After 32 minus 32 is 0. There we go. I made a mistake on the division again. So 32 minus 30. So 8 times 4 gives us 32. The remainder here is 0, and then we've got 0 here left over. We can just add that to the top. So it should actually be 140, not 145. My fault. Hopefully that makes sense. Basically, as long as you do the times fine, you get 7 times 160, you'll get 1120. And then you divide the rest of it, 8 divided by 1120 correctly, you'll get 140, and that's your answer here. Okay, question 75. There are 300 kids in a school. 2 over 5 of them like Adele, the singer. How many kids don't like Adele? Alright, so 2 over 5 like them. How many won't like them? Well, let's think of the fraction that won't, that is left over. It's actually 3 over 5 that is left over, right? So you think about 2 over 5 doesn't, 3 over 5 does. If you add them together, you'll actually get 5 over 5, which is 1 whole. So we have to find out 3 over 5 of 300 now. So 3 times 300 is 900 over 5 here, because 5 times 1. And now we have to divide the 5 by 900. And that will give us, I believe, 5 times 18. So it should be 180 over 1. And that is your answer right here. Question 76. Zane has £64. He gives 1/8 to Katy Perry, 3/8 to Taylor Swift. How much does he keep for himself? 500 milliliters of... Oh, sorry. I read the next question. So £64. So, okay, so 1/8 of 64 is basically just... If you times that again, times across, you'll get 64 over 8, which basically just means divide it by 8, right? And that will mean 8. 8 divided by 64 is 8. So £8 is going to Katy Perry. And then 3 times that, if you think about 3/8 is 3 times bigger, right? So 3 times that, which is 24. 24 of those pounds are going to Taylor Swift. How much is he keeping for himself? If we add these two together, we've got £32 that he's actually given away, and £32 that he keeps. And another way you can do that is you can add these two together, you'll get 4 over 8, right? So that means he's giving away 4 over 8, and he's also keeping 4 over 8. Basically means he's giving away half and keeping half, so you can just figure out what is half of 64. So what was the answer? I believe it was 32, yeah. 500 milliliters of 2,500 milliliter bottle of orange squash is concentrate. What fraction is concentrate? Okay, so 500 milliliters of it is concentrate. So 500 over, or out of the 2,500 is concentrate. Now we just simplify this. To simplify, again, you can divide, you find a number and you divide both of them by it. So you could use 10, or you could use 100. I'm going to use 100 here. So if you think about how many times is 100 going to 500? 5 times. And how many times is 100 going to 2,500? 25 times. An easy way to think about that is you just cancel out the zeros that are matching on top, right? And that gives you 5 over 25. And now we can simplify this even further. 5 goes into the top one once, and 5 goes into the bottom one 5 times. So 1 over 5 is the fraction here. Boom. Okay. Question 78. Tesco normally sells Twix bars for 40p. The sign says if I buy 3, I can have them for a quarter less than the normal price. So 3 of them will be 120p if you just multiply that. You'll have a quarter less than the normal price. So what's going to happen is we're going to get, instead of it being 4 over 4, which is the full price, it's actually going to be 3 over 4, which is a quarter less, right? Imagine taking a quarter off 4 over 4. So 3 over 4 of 120p is what we're going to do here. So 3 times, like we were doing earlier, 3 times 120 is going to be 360 over the 4, because 4 times 1 is 4. And this is how much we're going to buy the 3 Twix bars for. Now if we divide the 4 by 360, basically to simplify it, what we'll get, I believe it's 12. Sorry, not 120, it'll be 90 over 1. That means 90p is what we're getting it for. Alright, so now question 2. on this option, how much does each Twix bar cost? Assuming they're talking about the 1/4 less. Well, we had 3, and if we just divide that by 3 to figure out how much one of them costed, it's basically 30p. You can even think about what is a quarter of 40 pence. A quarter of 40 pence is 10 pence, and you're basically subtracting that off the total because you're getting a quarter less, so that would mean 30p. So the answer would be this option right here, 90 and 30. Alright, question 79. If 5/12 of box of chocolate weighs 20 grams, what is the weight of the whole box of chocolate? Okay, this is the same, it's a missing quantity. So 5/12 of something is equal to 20 grams. Well, what we can do is we can figure out, first of all, what is 1/12 of that missing quantity, and then what is 12/12, which is the whole quantity. So what is 1/12? Well, we just divide this by 5, and we're going to divide this one by 5 as well, and that'll give us 4 grams. And what is 12/12? So it's just times this by 12 and times this by 12, and that will give us 48 grams over 1. 48 grams basically, so that's the answer here. So 81. After I bought a phone case costing £200, 1/3 of what I had left was £60. How much money did I have at first? Okay, so when he spent £200, he had X amount of money left, right? So he spends £200, that leaves him with X money, and then if you find 1/3 of X, that is equal to 60. So this is a wordy problem, but basically it's just another fraction of missing quantity, where 1/3 of this number is 60, right? So 1/3 of what was left after the purchase was £60. So we can figure out that first. Well, how do we get to 3/3? We just times this by 3, and that will give us £180. So that means X is £180, right? So basically he had £180 left after we spent the £200. What it's asking us is how much money did he have at the start? Well, if we add on 200 to 180, that will give us 380, which is the answer right here. I forgot to select this one, I believe. It looks like I forgot to do question 80, sorry. Let me go back to question 80. So 2/5 of my money is 50p. What is the value of all of my money for question 80? Again, we can find out what 1/5 is, which is basically just divided by 2. So that'll be 25p is 1/5. And what is 5/5? It's going to be times by 5. So it's just going to be 125p. So that is the answer here. Okay, final few questions on the math sections here. How many 1/3 or how many thirds are there in 2/3? Well, if we look at this, right? If we times this by 2, that'll give us 2/3. So that means there are 2 lots of a third in that. So the answer here is going to be 2. How many is in 7/3? It's going to be the same. It's just going to be 7. How many is in 4? Okay. Well, this is 4/1, right? This isn't just 4. So if you think about 4/1, let's change that to have 3 at the bottom. So this needed times by 3. The top is going to need times by 3 as well. So now that's 12/3. So this fraction, 4, is equal to 12/3. Now you can ask how many thirds are in that. Well, it's clear. There's 12 of them, right? If you look at the top number. Now, how many is in 3 and a third? Again, this is a mixed fraction. We can just change this to an improper fraction. Remember the invisible times and the invisible plus. So 3 times 3 is 9, plus 1 is 10. So that leaves us with 10/3. How many thirds are in that? Well, 10 thirds are in that. So that's the answer. Okay, ostriches comprehension. We're going to read through the passage and then start answering the questions. So, ostriches are the largest and heaviest birds on Earth. They can grow to as tall as 9 feet. They can weigh to 50 pounds. Even though they have wings, they cannot fly. Instead, ostriches have long, powerful legs that help them run very fast when they feel threatened. Ostriches use their wings to propel themselves forward and help them change direction. I like to look at the questions after reading like a paragraph or so I can start answering them. So it says, according to the passage, Ostriches use their wings to, well, we know they don't use it to fly. They said they use it to propel themselves forward and help them change directions. So here we go. B, 86. According to the passage, ostriches were originally found in... Okay, well, we can now have a look at this. It says they are native to Africa. So that's going to be A here. As used in paragraph 2, which is the best synonym for domesticated? Alright, so let's look for... The word domesticated is here. Let's carry on reading. Where they still live in desert areas and dry open land grasslands called savannas, ostriches can also be found in zoos all over the world. Humans have domesticated ostriches, so now ostriches live on farms. Okay, so what it's basically saying is they live in open grassland and savannas usually. They can also be found in zoos. Obviously that's because of humans. And then it's talking about how humans have domesticated them so that they now live on farms in dozens of different countries. So compared to where they originally live, which has grasslands, they got domesticated and now live in farms. So we can assume that domesticated means here is tamed, because what's happening is they're taking them out of the wild, taming them and making them live on farms, right? And none of the other ones here will match that. So the answer here is D. In paragraph 3, the author tells us that it would take an hour and a half to hard boil an ostrich egg. Let's have a look. Ostriches like to live in small groups called herds. The male ostrich is called a rooster. Female is called a hen. The baby ostriches are chicks. Lay eggs, so female ostriches lay eggs. They take turns sitting on the eggs to keep it warm. Hatches after 42 days. The eggs are around 5 pounds. It will take an hour and a half to hard boil the ostrich eggs. So first of all, it's talking about how heavy they are and how they're the largest eggs of all eggs. And then it seems to put in this extra clause here where it's explaining that it would take really, really long to hard boil the eggs. So why are they doing that? It's probably to reinforce the idea that not that they're rare, but that they're very big, to illustrate the fact that the ostrich eggs are very big. So that would be C. Okay, using the information presented in the passage, we can understand that the expression to bury your head in the sand means to... Right, let's have a look at that. People used to think that ostriches buried their heads in the sand when in danger, but this is not true. When ostriches sense danger, they try to hide by holding their heads close to the ground. The colour of the feather blends with the colour of the sand, which makes it difficult for predators to see them. Even so, we still use expression to bury your head in the sand to describe someone who refuses to recognize or deal with a problem. Well, there's the explanation there. So, someone who is refusing to acknowledge a problem. Question 90, that would be B. The main purpose of this passage is to clarify a commonly misunderstood expression. Not quite. It does that in the last paragraph, but that's not the whole passage. Argue that ostriches are smarter? Nope. Describe how ostriches have come to be found in many different countries? Nope. Provide general facts about ostriches and their habits. Yeah, it seems to be talking just in general about loads of different facts about ostriches. So the answer here should be D. Why can't ostriches fly despite having wings? Let's go back to the first section where they had wings. I was talking about the wings. It says even though they have wings, they cannot fly. Does it say anything about? It doesn't say anything about why. Let's look at the options. Their wings are too small and weak. Lack the necessary feathers for flight. Their wings are primarily used for balance and direction changes. Ostriches cannot fly. Choose not to fly due to their size. They definitely don't choose to not fly. It doesn't say anything about that. Let's see if it says that anywhere in the actual passage about like why they can't fly. So it doesn't look like there's any other information in the passage about why they can't fly. And C would probably be the most accurate answer here, because it does say that they use their wings for balance and direction changes, and we can assume they can only use it for that, right? So they're probably a different type of wing. And this is sort of what this sentence is saying, is that it's specialized for balance and direction changes rather than flight, right? Again, these ones, they sort of make sense, but there's no evidence in the passage, so we can't go with that. So let's stick with C. What is the primary purpose of ostriches' wings? We just sort of went over this as well. It's to assist movement and changing direction. That was 93, option D. Question 94. What is one of the reasons ostriches are raised on farms in various countries? Well, let's have a look. They are raised for their meat, skin, and feathers. So here we go. Option D is the answer there. Question 95. What is the purpose of ostriches living in small groups called herds? I remember them explaining this. So it says here they like to live in small groups, and it also says that when they lay an egg, they take turns on sitting on the egg. That seems to be the only information that we've got on here about why they live on herds. Ostrich egg hatches in about 42 days, the largest egg. There is no other information on it, so let's have a look. To find food more easily, to protect themselves from predators, to increase their chances of flying together, or to attract potential mates. This is a tough one. Okay, question 95. How many days does it take for an ostrich egg to hatch after it has been laid? Let's have a look. So an ostrich egg hatches about 42 days after it is laid. What does the option say? In 42 days. There we go. So the answer option here will be B. Question 96. What is the main ostrich eggs incubated by both male and female? So what's the main reason ostrich eggs are incubated by both male and female ostriches? To prevent predators, no. To ensure chicks are properly nourished, to help them, to allow females to rest during incubation. Okay, let's have a look. I remember it saying that both of them are. So male ostrich is a rooster, female one is a hen. Both male and female take turns to keep the egg warm. An ostrich egg hatches about 42 days after it's laid. The ostrich egg is the largest of all eggs. So it's obviously a very big egg. It takes a very long time to hatch. I would assume the reason why they have to both spend time on it is because if a female had to spend all 42 days on it, it would be quite tough. So it's definitely they're incubating it to make it hatch quicker, I believe. But why are they both doing it? I would think D. So yeah, I would go with D here, just because it's asking why both the male and the female ostriches are incubating the egg, rather than, obviously the reason they're incubating it is to make it hatch quicker, but it's asking why both of them are doing it, and that would be probably to ensure that each of them can take turns and have a rest, right? Question 97. Does it take for an ostrich egg to be hard boiled? Okay, I remember this being in the passage. So we can see here, it would take an hour and a half to hard boil an ostrich egg. So question, it was 97, 1.5 hours. There we go. 97, question is option C. Question 98. Why do ostriches put their head close to the ground when they sense danger? The whole last paragraph about this. When they sense danger, they try and hide by holding their heads close to the ground. And they also seem to camouflage them, right? So let's have a look. To make it harder for predators to see them, that would be the answer here, because they're hiding from them. So question 98 is option A. How does ostrich egg size compare to the other bird species? Well, we know for a while it actually says, yeah, there we go, it's the largest egg. So they are amongst the largest of all birds. So question 99, option C here. Okay, antibacterial soap now. The next comprehension here. We all know that it is good to wash your hands with soap and water. Washing your hands removes germs, which helps to stop spread diseases. Many people today use antibacterial soap because they think it will work better to kill the germs. They have special chemicals that will kill germs, also known as bacteria. Okay, let's have a look at the questions quickly, because what I like to do is first of all read a bit about the passage that will tell us what this is about, and then we can look at the questions and then we can know what context we should be looking at the passage in. So if we're already reading some of the questions, we're going to be more prone to seeing key details in the passage. So according to the passage, triclosan is a kind of bacteria, lives in your gut, kills germs, or is found in regular soap. Okay, so we have to find what this word is. So if we keep reading, I don't think we've come across it just yet. Soap by trapping, so keeping healthy and regular soap. When you rinse your hands off, you also rinse off the dirt and germs. Regular soap works perfectly well at getting rid of germs. So most antibacterial soaps have a special chemical called triclosan. Okay, so triclosan is a special chemical that seems to be put into these antibacterial soaps. Many different kinds of germs, so basically it kills many different kinds of germs. People who use antibacterial soap with triclosan in it, they think they are keeping their hands cleaner. However, scientists say that in order for triclosan to work properly, it also has to stay on your hands for at least 2 full minutes. Most people spend less than 30 seconds washing their hands. This means that triclosan in the soap does not actually have enough time to work. Okay, so triclosan is a kind of bacteria that has become resistant. No, it says that it kills bacteria. Lives in your gut? No. Is found in regular soap? No, it's found in antibacterial soap. So the only answer here is C. And it does say that it kills many different kinds of germs. So we can select option C. Sorry, I clicked the wrong one. Okay, question 101. The author argues the antibacterial soap are not good as regular soap, not as good as regular soaps, because they kill good bacteria, can make it harder to kill some bacteria, cost more than regular soap. Okay, first of all, well, in this paragraph he says soap works by trapping dirt and germs, and then basically what you do is you rinse off those dirt and germs, right? He hasn't said anything about it being cheaper or anything just yet, I don't believe. Yeah, so let's continue reading. Not only do antibacterial soaps not work, so he's basically saying triclosan and antibacterial soaps don't really work, they may also be causing problems. Some bacteria are good. For example, there are bacteria in your gut that help you digest food. There are other good bacteria in your body that fight against the germs that make you sick. And antibacterial soap kills the good and the bad bacteria. So I believe that was one of the options here. Yep, so one of the reasons why it's not as good is because it kills the good bacteria as well. Can make it harder to kill some bad bacteria. I don't see anything there. Another problem is bacteria can become resistant to antibacterial soaps. So not all bacteria die when you use antibacterial soap. The ones that are still alive are resistant, meaning that triclosan cannot kill them. These resistant bacteria go on to make new bacteria. These new bacteria are also resistant, and this goes on and on basically. So it does actually make it harder to kill some bad bacteria, because what happens is the bad bacteria, or the resistant ones, stay alive and then they replicate and become, they make more of them. So by the end of it, what you'll have is a bunch of resistant bacteria that are very hard to kill. There are resistant bacteria go on. When some bacteria become resistant, they're very hard to kill. There's the sentence there. It's hard for doctors to treat people who are sick with resistant bacteria. Do not buy antibacterial soap. Regular soap and hot water are perfectly effective at getting your germs off. There's no reason to use antibacterial soap. So it doesn't say anything about it being cheaper. So what I'm left with is option 1 and 2. That should be right. So it should be I and II, which means the answer here is B for question 101. The information in the passage leads us to believe that most people think that regular soap works better than antibacterial soap. that's not true because it's talking about how everyone thinks antibacterial soap is better. Most people get sick because of resistant bacteria. It doesn't say that most people get sick because of that. It says it's a possibility. Do not wash their hands as often as they should. Do not spend very long time washing their hands. Yep, so here there is very clear evidence for option D because he says most people spend less than 30 seconds washing their hands, right? So do not spend a very long time. And obviously he says you'd need a full 2 minutes rather than just less than 30 seconds. It doesn't say anything about people not washing as often as they should. So answer option here is D. Question 103. Imagine that a new drug called Flu No More is invented that can kill the germ that causes the flu. Scientists learn that flu germs are resistant to Flu No More. Based on the way it is explained in the passage, these resistant germs cannot be killed by the flu no more, live in your gut to help you digest food, will kill the good bacteria in your body, will be killed more easily by Flu No More. Okay, so for this you need to understand what the passage explained resistant germs to be. So if we look up again, it says basically what happens is when you use antibacterial soap, some bacteria that is already resistant will not die, and then these ones will stay alive and will go on to make new bacteria. So they stay alive and they start replicating, and then these new bacteria are also resistant, and this goes on. More and more bacteria become resistant to triclosan. The bacteria become resistant to triclosan, and basically they end up being very hard to kill. So the answer here is basically if the flu germs are resistant to this new drug, similar way that bacteria becomes resistant to triclosan, then it will be very difficult to kill the flu germs. And there's no option here that's saying it's very difficult. It just says it cannot be killed, which is the closest thing. It's pretty much the same thing. So the answer here will be A as well. Question 104. As you used in the final paragraph, the word effective most nearly belongs to which of the following word groups? Okay, final paragraph, effective, it's bold here. So hot water are perfectly effective at getting germs off your hands. So basically, if you think about it in context, it's saying it works perfectly well, basically. So if we try and put any of these in, perfectly clean at getting germs off, that doesn't make sense. Perfectly brave, that doesn't make sense. Perfectly useful or perfectly successful at getting germs off your hands, that makes sense. Perfectly quick or perfectly speedy, that wouldn't really make much sense because it's not talking about speed. It hasn't been talking about speed in the passage at all. It's talking about how effective, how successful we are at actually killing these germs. So the answer here would be C. Question 105. The author's main purpose in writing this passage is to A. Tell the readers about dangers of resistant bacteria. B. Explain how antibacterial soap is different from regular soap. C. Show readers why regular soap is not as good at killing germs. It's definitely not C because it's been talking about how regular soap is good. Convince people to stop using antibacterial soap. Okay, so this is a bit more of a nuanced one. You have to try and think about what the general, like if you are writing this article, why would you be doing it? Like if you were the author, why would you be writing it? You can see from the start he's trying to say that antibacterial soap is bad, normal soap is good, and he definitely explains how it's different. But if you look at the conclusion, right, when you're looking for the author's intent or the author's main purpose, most of the time it will be in the conclusion or the introduction. If we look at the conclusion here, he's definitely saying next time you're shopping, do not buy antibacterial soap. He's definitely telling you not to do it. So he's trying to convince you to stop using antibacterial soap. He's definitely telling you about the dangers of resistant bacteria, but that's not what it's talking about for the majority of the passage. If you zoom out and try and think about why he's even speaking about this, it's basically to convince you to use normal soap over antibacterial soap. Okay, question 106 now. Let me just select the right option here, D. Question 106. Despite her extended something from school, she maintained good grades. Okay, so now we have to get the correct spellings here. There isn't much to go over on these apart from, just understanding the spelling. There isn't any technique to this, so I will just go through and read out the answers here. So absence is spelled the same way as B is, so absent. Accommodate is spelled the same way as C. 108 achieve is spelled same way as C here. Acquire is spelled like this. Address is spelled like this. Advertise is spelled like this. Let me select these as well. Let's see. Advice is spelled like this. Animals is spelled like this. She finished product. Another is spelled like this. Parent is spelled like this. Okay, now we're on to question 116. Nouns questions. What is a noun? A noun is a word for a place, person, or thing. So that's B here. Select the noun here. Butter is definitely a noun because it's a thing or an object. Vibrant and slowly are both. This is an adjective, this is an adverb. Okay, select the noun. Again, mountain is the thing here or the object, whereas the other two are describing something or a verb. This one's a verb. Select the abstract noun. Okay, happiness is having a large, loving, caring, close-knit family in another city. Okay, so abstract noun is basically a noun that describes an idea or something that is abstract, that's something that you can't actually touch, right? So if you think about what is, so large here, right? This is an adjective because it's describing something, right? So it can't be a noun. Close-knit, that is again describing something, it can't be that. Family isn't describing anything, so that could definitely be an option. And if we look at happiness, that is also like, if I was going to say someone is happy, that would be describing that person. But if you're saying happiness in general, that is an idea, right? So we've got two sort of options here that are quite similar. Now many people could get confused as to why family is not an abstract noun, but basically what it comes down to is, again, if you think about your family, they're people or things in reality, right? They're an actual object, so you can point to people in your family. You can't point to this idea of happiness. So happiness is an abstract noun. It's something that is basically abstract. It's an idea. So something like sadness would also be an abstract noun. So the answer here would be A. Okay, select a collective noun. So this will be any sort of noun that is basically a group of things. So if you think about a school of fish, right, that's a collective noun, school, right? Or a crowd of people. Crowd is a collective noun because it's basically a noun that is a group of things. So here a flock would be the answer because it's for example a flock of birds. Yeah. Okay, question 121. Select the noun here. Now, bright is an adjective. Old is also an adjective. Tuesday is a proper noun. A collective noun can be singular or plural. Well, if we think about the collective noun up here, a flock of birds, you could also say flocks of different birds. So then you can obviously have a singular collective noun and also a plural collective noun. So the answer here will be A. Select the noun here. Frozen, poodle, tranquil. So poodle is a type of dog. The other two are adjectives. Select the compound noun. So a compound noun is any word that is basically split, it's like sort of two words joined together. So if you think of toothpaste, that's obviously two separate nouns, but when you put them together it's a new noun. So the only one here that would match that is mother-in-law. So that will be answer C. Select the abstract noun. So as I explained earlier, happy here would be an adjective. So if you're saying someone is happy, then you're describing that person. So happy isn't actually an abstract noun in this case. Only happiness is an abstract noun. Flame isn't an abstract noun because it can be seen or you can point towards it. Loyalty is an abstract noun. It's again one of these ideas that you can't really point to. It's not like a real thing, but it's abstract is the best way I could put it. Anyway, 126. Select the second collective noun. A man who wants to lead the orchestra must turn his crowd back on the crowd. Okay, so it's the second collective noun. So the orchestra is the first collective noun in the sentence, and then crowd will be the second one here, so that's going to be D. Question 127. Which type of noun is being described? These represent things you cannot perceive with your senses. Okay, so we have to look for the describing word. So this is a verb. Oh right, sorry. I didn't realize. Basically what it's asking is, what does this sentence describe, right? So is it an abstract noun that it's describing or a concrete noun that it's describing? Well, it's an abstract noun because an abstract noun is something that you cannot perceive with your senses. So that'll be option A. 128. Select the collective noun. That would be family here. As that is a group of people. 129. What is the concrete noun here? What is a concrete noun? So a concrete noun is a noun that you can perceive with at least one of your senses. A noun which names something you cannot see. Okay, so that's an abstract noun, and A will be a concrete noun. Select the compound noun now. Sunrise right here. So you can see there's two separate words in that, sun and rise. Sunny day is just two different words. I just think that's a compound noun. Okay, 131. Deep summer is when laziness finds respectability. So respectability here will be the abstract noun. Laziness is again just another verb, so you have to be careful with those ones. Okay, verbal reasoning now. Insert the letter. So these ones are again, there's not much to show here. I'll show you the technique that we'd go through, but then most of it will just be going through the answers. So with this question, insert the letter question type. We've got tutorials on our website on how to do this question type as well. And I believe in the Learn tab over here. If you go to the, I'll actually show you right now. If we go here, and we click on verbal reasoning, you can see insert the letter is right here. And the first one is a video tutorial on how to do these question types, right? So if you don't really know how to do it, it's a good idea to watch that. But let's go back to our homework. How we do this basically is you have to put a word that will go into the blank in both of these, right? So if I scroll all the way back down, we have to think of a letter that will go into each of those blanks. I can immediately think of one. All you have to do is really look at the first word, right, and think, what can I put at the end of that? So immediately, I mean, there's only 4 options here, but you can try floop, flood, flug, flute. So flood, obviously, you might say flued, but then you realize it says flood. That works. And this one will make drive right here. If we put here flood and drive, then round and damp. That obviously works. So this one, fla, I can't think of anything there, but I can think of pansy, right? Flap and pansy would work, and then steep and piano. So that seems to work. So I'd try each of these and then see if something comes to your mind. If nothing comes to your mind after like a few goes, then you can try letter by letter, especially if you're given options. It'll make it easy as well. You'll be definitely given options in the actual exam. So here, meta and iver, definitely put an L in there, metal and liver, sorry. And then growl and loose, that works. Okay, dra and, so I'm thinking draw and windy, floor and weary, that works. So again, if you don't know what this word weary means, you should keep a note of it in like a vocab book or something like that. Basically means tired. And then floor is, again, it's like an issue that you have, right? So if you're floored, you're not perfect, basically. Okay, train and naught is what I think here, and grin and near. And then this one is milk and, okay, I was going to say milk and cake, but that isn't a word with a K. I say L, so still, steel and live, and then mill and lake. So mill is like a windmill, right? There's different types of mills. Okay, shovel and lost, towel and lower. So you can sort of see the technique that we use here is basically just thinking of words, looking at first of all this section, and then if you can't think of anything for that, look for this section, then do the same on this and this, right? So I'm going to go through the answers on these and just type them into here. So question 137 is L. So Beal and Leet, and then call and last. So 137. Oh, I was looking at the wrong one. 138 is shovel. 139 is H, so month and high, youth and hand. 140 is beef and feet, calf and fast. So calf is like a mini cow, a baby cow, sorry. Question 141 is Belm and, Grim and Mark, and then Beam and Muse. Question 142 is Bell and Loom, Seal and Less. Question 143 is Tap and Pair, and Lump and Pain. Question 144, Doug and Gale, and Beg and Grin. Again, so if you don't know what Gale means, something you can look up and put in your vocab book. 145, Steep and, I was thinking steep and prime, but actually warp and preem. Okay, this one definitely has to be a D. It should be steed and drain, sword and dream. So a drain, steed is basically a horse, right? 146 is going to be, I believe, plain and eating, fate and edit. 147 is going to be panic and candle, magic and call. 148 is going to be straw and wink, claw. No, that doesn't seem to work. Oh yeah, claw and worse. Okay, there we go. 149, plash and heat, fish and hope. 150 is going to be radio and outer, halo and orange. 151 is going to be turf and fund, clef and forge. 152 is going to be feet and trail, squat and trust. 153 is going to be tank and need, slick and kitten. 154 is going to be grin and noisy, and chin and never. 155 is going to be trap and pot, wasp and pound. 156 is going to be held and deal, spread and drake. And 157, scam, meat, slim mind. 158, this one was 156, I believe, was D, right? This one was M, this one was D, and then, this one was K, so blink and kilo, prank and king. And then 159 is chair, right, liver, reach, right? So all of these are pretty much the same idea here, right? You want to try some of the words until you get something that works, and then sometimes you won't actually know what the word means. And if you can't find anything else, just put it in if it sounds like an actual word. So some of these, like drake, a lot of people might not know what a drake is, but it is basically a male duck, right? So some of these will be tough, but the point of this exercise is you do these all. Once you've answered them all, you'll have a bunch of new words in your vocabulary. The next time you have to do questions like this, you're more likely to not make mistakes, and you're more likely to have those words in your vocabulary right, and you'll be able to get those right. Okay, question 160, NVR odd one out now. Okay, so for this, again, we've got a tutorial in the Learn tab. If you look at the NVR section, how to do this, you want to look at all of the options here, and you'll think of a rule that unites them all. So you have to think of what is similar in all of the options except for one. This is how you have to think about it, right? Don't look for what looks different, look for what looks similar between 4 of them, and which one doesn't match with that similarity. So immediately I can see all of them have the same sort of shape in the background, right? So that's a similarity, but I need a similarity that's only on 4 and not on the last one, right? So I can also see that all of them start from the inside, right? They start from here, whereas B actually goes across the whole shape, right? You can see that, hopefully. So each of them are starting from inside. The line is starting from inside the shape, whereas on B it's going across the whole shape. So it's going to be B for question 160. Question 161. What's similar between these? Well, I'm immediately going to think of counting shapes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 sides on this, 6 sides on this, 6 sides on this as well, 6 sides on this, and E only has 5 sides. So the odd one out here is E, because all the other 4 have 6 sides. Okay, question 162. What's similar between all of these? They all have 3 greys, right? They all have 3 grey options here. They all also have 2 blacks, and except for A only has 1 black, right? Let's keep looking just in case. So these have 2 whites, 1 white, 1 white, 1 white, 1 white. So you can see A is also odd in terms of the colouring. Basically, it has too many whites and has not enough black sections, right? So that's how you do it. You have to look for a rule that is similar between all of them. So 3 greys is in all of them, but then this idea of only 2 blacks and 1 white section is only a rule in 4 of these, and this is therefore odd. Okay, question 163. So this is going to be another probably number of sides thing. So this is 4 sides, this is 3 sides, this is no sides, and this is 6 sides, and this is 3 sides. Well, I think this is also curved, right? This is the only one that's curved. So immediately I'm thinking C, because all of the other ones are regular shapes which have straight lines, whereas C is a circle which has curves, right? So question 163, C is going to be odd. Question 164. What's similar between all of these? I'm seeing again the line, right? This line is straight. This line is straight. This line is a bit short. These are fine, right? So immediately I'm thinking about D being odd, but just because of the short line, but I don't think it's a strong enough case just yet, because all of the lines are actually different length. Let's look at the squiggles, right? So all of these squiggles, they've got a line and then they've got like this squiggly thing, right? Whereas on D, it's just straight lines, so they haven't got any curved shape. So then definitely the answer has to be D here, because that's a definite rule where all of the options have a straight line and also a squiggly line, whereas D doesn't have that squiggly line. Okay, 165. Right, I think I'm going to count shape number of sides again. So this has got 8 sides. This has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 sides here. This has got 8 sides. This has also got 8 sides, and this has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sides. So you can see all of them have 8 sides apart from B. So the option here should be B. Question 166. This is 3 triangles. So this is 9 sides. This is 12 sides. This is also 12 sides, this is 15, and this is 12. Okay, so it's nothing to do with the sides because I don't see any rule there. This has got 2 shapes inside of it. 2 shapes, 2 shapes, 3 shapes, and 3 shapes. So I don't see any rule there. Could be the position. Oh, I made a mistake there actually. These are not 12, these are actually 16. This is 16 sides, 15 sides, and this is 12 sides. So this one is a bit of a tricky one. It looks like it might be a rule system. So if we look at, for example, a system of rules, right? So what we can see is if there are two shapes, they should both be white, right? So A and E have this rule. If there are three shapes, there can be a black shape, right? So these have got a black shape, this has got a black shape. Whereas D, it should both be white if it followed the rule, or it would need to have an extra shape, right? A third shape to have a black shape as well. So basically, the rule system that we've got going here is if the shape has three shapes inside of it, then it is allowed to have a black shape. If it only has two, then it is not allowed to have a black shape. Right, and D is the only one that breaks that rule. So that leaves us with the answer being D for question 166. Yeah, I mean, it's basically a rule system where if you can only have a black shape if you have three shapes inside, right? And it's a bit of a tricky one there. But that is if you come across a question where it's sort of like difficult to figure something out for this, like it would be a rule system. You'd have to look for a rule system. Actually, I've gone over in the video tutorial of the odd one outs thing as well, in the learn tab as well, if you check that out. Okay, question 167. Well, what is the rule here? All of them have a circle that is pointing to the left and also an arrow on the other side. So you can see circle and then down arrow, right? A does not have an arrow, it's only got two circles. So that would be option A. Question 168. We've got all of these have 1, 2 intersections, right? 1, 2, 1 intersection, 1, 2, 1, 2. So the answer here will be C, because all of them have, again, if you look at the intersections, they've got two intersections rather apart from C. Everything else is the same with them. Question 169. C is the obvious one here because it's the only one with a black star. Everything else is just a distraction, basically. Question 170. Now we've got a four-sided shape in a four-sided shape, circle in a square, triangle in a square, pentagon in a triangle, pentagon in a square. Okay. Now, I know the previous one, right? I think it was question 163. We went with C because it was the only curved shape there, right? Now, I'm not going to go with B immediately, just because it has a circle, because there's two shapes in this one. So there's a chance that they want us to be looking for a different, like a stronger rule, instead of just saying, oh, the outside shape has to not be curved, right? So let's have a look. It could be B, but if we think about anything else, so this has got trapezium, and so this has got four sides. So yeah, that's got 8 sides. This has got 4 sides. This has got a square plus a triangle, which is 7. This is 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's 9. I don't think that makes a difference. So this has a line of symmetry. This is a line of symmetry. Not have a line of symmetry. Right, these have a line of symmetry, this does not. Okay, so it can't be that. Okay, question 170. What we've got here is a few different shapes, and immediate thoughts are to count up the number of sides. So what I've got here is 8 sides, 5 sides. Sorry, it's 4 sides because the circle doesn't actually have sides. Square is 4 sides here. Now you've got 8 sides here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6, 7 sides really, or it could be up to 12 if you're counting these squares. There's no real pattern with the number of sides there, because if you count these squares here, it'll be 4 plus 5, which is 9 as well. All of them are different really. So what I can see, what else, is every option has a square. So this has a square, this has a square, and this also has a square. Whereas option D does not have a square, so that would make it odd. So the rule is that each option has to have a square. Yep, question 171. Now this one, it looks like each of them have a pattern. So they've got always square, circle, square, triangle in sort of like this rotation, right? So square, circle, square, triangle, square, circle, square, triangle, square, circle, square, triangle, and you can see option B here is not matching that. It's going square, circle, triangle, square. So you can see there's two squares that are next to each other. So option B is the answer for that, and option D is the answer for 170. Question 172. Now these ones are usually quite simple. If you see something that's just got all of the options that look like the same shape, what's probably happening is all of them are rotations and one is a reflection, or vice versa. Okay, so if we look at these shapes, all of these have, so B can be rotated to make C, C can be rotated to make D, and D cannot be rotated to make E, right? Because you'd have to reflect it. If you think about, if you rotate it all the way, it would actually just face like this way, right? They can also be rotated to make A, right? So all of these are the same shape. E is a reflection, so 172 will be E. Question 173. These are all reflections down the middle, whereas A isn't a reflection. This is pointing the wrong way, so option A will be the answer here. And now if we look at the last question, we've got 1, 2, 3 black, 1, 2, 3 black, 1, 2, 3 black, 1, 2, 3 black, and D has got 4 black circles, so the answer here will be D. Okay, let's click check now. Okay, I've generated the homework report, and there we go. We can see we've got 174 out of 174. All of the answers we've got are correct, and you could do this yourself once you've entered your own options and click check. Again, aim for something around this, so around 75% or more. I believe there should also show a percentage bar, which will look to update the platform, so it shows that as well. But yeah, hopefully that was useful. Hopefully that walkthrough was useful.